All right. All right, we'll begin in a couple of minutes here. All right, hey, what's up, guys? Hello, hello. Oh, thank you guys for the likes. Thank you, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Let's settle in, settle in. Ooh, 6 likes before we even begin. Good to see, good to see. And I think my audio is working perfectly fine. Let me just do one final check here. Okay, perfect. Alright, so as you guys can clearly see in the title, we're going to be talking about one single stock only, and that is DataDog. Alright, so this is a software stock that has been basically, from a technical angle, lagging, right? It's been lagging for quite some time now, for, well, this entire year actually. And we'll get into that, but this is a exclusive swing trade idea from the official CFO Swinger Watch Report that is sent out every single Sunday, right? It's a weekly newsletter that is sent out every single week, along with a private technical analysis video as well. So I'm going to be specifically going over this ticker only for tonight. So hopefully you guys understood that, right? And you guys can literally just check the description box down below, because that has kind of the summary, a summation of what we're gonna do in every single live stream. So make sure you guys read the description box down below. So let's first begin with the look of the CFO Swinger Watch Report. All right, so oops, let's actually not edit that. Okay, so what we have here is this week's CFO Swinger Watch Report. Okay, and DDOG was one of the main swing trade ideas that I put on in this week's report, other than PRCT. Okay, so PRCT hasn't worked out just yet, but DDOG has been doing absolutely well, right? So obviously you guys can take a look at the comparison of the weekly time frame chart that I provided on Sunday night to what we have now on the right here. So there's been a pretty good development so far this week, along with a massive amount of volume that came in so far. And by tomorrow at the close, we're gonna have a lot more in volume compared to last week's earnings week volume. So that's another good sign there from a technical perspective. Now, let's first take a look at the well, before we do any of the technical analysis, let's take a look at what I wrote in the report itself. So first of all, they recently reported in their earnings report, right? They had a 13.50% year-over-year ARR, or what we like to call in the finance world, annual recurring revenue, right? And the overall revenue growth was about 26% year-over-year. And that's pretty incredible, right? And they've been able to sustain a pretty solid rate of revenue growth for the past couple of quarters. And it's certainly become the main topic for this name, as I've written here, because they just became profitable this fiscal year after reaching a break-even state. And so the company is basically known to not only bring in new customers and clients, but able to literally upsell from the original products and services that these customers and clients have. And you know, that basically increases excuse me guys, increases the average spending of each customer, right? And from the recent earnings report as well, about 83% of their customers use 2 or more of their products and services, while 12% of their customers use 8 or more products. And just having that double-digit percentage is pretty amazing, right? Again, they're really good at upselling. Datadog is known for this in their industry and in their sector. Okay, they're really good at their sales, and based on their consistent revenue growth for the past 3 quarters so far, okay, their cash flow generation of FCF or free cash flow has ballooned as well. In fact, their FCF is up exactly 47.3% in quarter 3, with an expectation that this value will increase in quarter 4 as well, with another expectation that their revenue growth will also beat expectations as well. So that's a double whammy there. And so, you know, although the revenue guidance, right, was missed by a hair, right, it's still set to grow. Okay, so you know, to be honest, even if the revenue guidance missed by a hair, it's a great way for a customer to, well, not customer, but a great way for the company to actually beat the expectations or even just the overall revenue guidance and outlook. And again, they're still expecting to see growth in revenue even if their revenue guidance and outlook missed by a slight hair, right? And again, I still believe that can be a great way for the company to try to break that that overall revenue guidance estimate for the future and potentially have another outstanding quarter in the future. So, you know, to me, it seems like this company has been strongly growing its customer base, right? And especially their customer loyalty, right? And let me actually put down the audio here, the music. Actually, let me just skip this song. Okay, there we go. So basically, from what I'm saying there is their retention of customers through customer loyalty has been absolutely splendid. It's one of the best companies out there that are able to retain their customers and clients, especially their big clients who are able to spend over $100,000, you know, per year, right, on specifically their products only, right? So they're staying within this DataDog network, okay, of products and services. And so specifically in quarter 3, let's see here, what do I write here? So the customers who are spending over $100,000 annually has increased to 3,490 customers compared to 3,130 customers in quarter 3 of last year. That's a really good increase, right? That's a good percentage increase from that perspective. And this chunk of customers alone is adding on to their NRR or net retention revenue growth as well. Because again, not only did they retain the 3,130 customers in quarter 3 of last year, but they've actually added on to the amount of people, 3,130 people or companies from last year to 3,490 people or companies this year. Right? So that is absolutely amazing, right? From a growth perspective, from a just from a fundamental perspective as well, that they're able to basically generate money for the company, right? That's important for the company. So the management is doing something right. The management is doing something with their money, with the earned money that they're getting from their clients and customers. Because again, they reached break even, and shortly after that, this year, they became profitable, right? So they're doing something right from a financial perspective. Now, another way to confirm what I've just told you guys there, that management is doing exceptionally well with their finances, okay? Their earnings growth is looking very, very good, right? As I said here, as analysts are expecting at least a 24% per year growth in earnings. This indicates that they know what they're doing to generate money from their business operation, but also retaining the money and cashing it in for the company, increasing the overall financial health condition of the company. But to add the cherry on top to their rapidly growing earnings, their profit margins have been rising as well, with their recently reported net profit margin to 7.6%. I wouldn't be surprised in the next couple of years if that profit margin becomes a double-digit percentage as well. Okay, and the overall revenue growth also continues to stay at a steady triple-digit number, right? Or you know, in dollar amount, obviously, right? So if their overall revenues continue at a pace of sticking to, okay, I believe recently they had Yeah, 690 million, right? If they're continuously being able to stay with this triple digit number here for revenue, right? They should be able to continue to efficiently use that money that's coming in to retain and maybe even attain an overall net profit margin growth, right? To that double digit percentage number. Okay, so again, they're still at 7.6%, which again is not bad at all. That is very, very solid. Okay, so overall, their financial conditions are net positive and fairly healthy, even though they do carry debt that has been slightly increasing for the past 3 years without much intention of reducing that debt. So that's something that I'll be taking a look at for the next couple of quarters on this specific ticker, because it's a pretty good idea to reduce their debt as they're growing monetarily, right? As their overall company is growing with profits and revenue, all right? But if this company begins to just completely ignore the debt and continue to pile on that debt, that will be a bit troublesome. However, there's a little caveat for this. If DataDog does that, and in the slight possibility in the future that they do this, where they continue to, grab more debt, they maybe even do debt financing, which I don't think they will need to do. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. Why? Because they continue to increase their assets as well. They're both of their short-term and long-term assets, and their current assets are bigger than their entire total liabilities, including their net debt. So again, I think they know what they're doing with their money. I don't think they will be increasing their debt anytime soon. Yes, there has been a slight slow incline in their net debt, but again, with the fact that they're doing really well from a sales perspective, so they're in the front lines generating cash, and in the back they're also retaining the earnings that they've made from that generation of cash and revenue. Does that make sense, guys? So again, very, very good company so far. Very, very good growth company, right? Because again, tech companies tend to be very unprofitable for 5 whole years or even more than that without any outlook or guidance into a path of profitability. But this company has been able to do it this year. As long as they're able to have consistent revenue growth and earnings growth as well, we should be able to see some very, very good share price reaction as well, right? Because again, the markets like to look at the future, right? It's always pricing in the future, the perception of what could happen in the future. And so from a fundamental perspective, and at some points, this name looks very, very undervalued, right? Especially when you're looking at the metrics from a forward perspective, from a forward guidance. So DataDog, now from a technical perspective, it also looks like it has been lagging this entire year. And guess what? This entire year, they've been building this company to grow even more and faster, right? Bigger and faster, while the share price has not done anything this entire year. So this one is a major tech / software laggard. And if you guys remember, I gave you guys that chart of IGV, and I currently swung this as well the last couple of trading days here and last week as well. So this one, again, IGV, this is the iShares Expanded Tech Software Sector ETF, or just again, Tech Software ETF. And I specifically told you guys and everyone on Twitter or X and Threads and every other social media platform that IGV being very, very bullish on a bullish breakout is not bearish for the overall market. Right, I've been saying this since I posted about IGV back in mid to late August, if I remember correctly. And so major breakout over 89, obviously that has occurred. We're now in the triple digits, okay? And as long as we're able to hold 100 on IGV, we should continue to see this this overall ticker continue to break up higher and make new higher highs and new all-time highs as well. So based on this overall sector performance, DDOG, relatively speaking, is very, very lagging, right? It's lagging a lot compared to its peers, compared to the industry lead, compared to the overall sector. So if I want to add IGV on the back, okay. Oh, let's make sure It loads here. So hopefully you guys are understanding what I'm telling you guys here for tonight, right? Because DDG looks very, very good, right? And it seems like my Wi-Fi has gone out somehow. No, it's not the Wi-Fi that's gone out. I'm still connected. Nope, definitely connected. But I think TradingView has frozen here. It's not reloading at all. Okay, well, there it is. Okay, oops. There we go. Right, so IGV basically hasn't done much either, right, for most of this year. But with this breakout, it's giving me a bit more conviction to be long DDOG into the end of this year and into next year as well. I wouldn't be surprised if DDOG has the relative strength and momentum to continue to move up higher without any consideration as to what the overall markets are doing or what even the entire sector could be doing as well. Okay, and especially the specific sector for DataDog, which is the tech software sector. So again, if we now hone in onto the actual technicals, and if I go back to the charts that are provided on Sunday in the official report here, okay, here's what I said, okay, the actual 3-point game plan here, a long entry of a bounce at 122.10, which is also going to be a simultaneous retest of the daily 200 SMA. Okay, so that's the very first entry point that I was looking at for DDOG. And guess what? We actually retested the daily 200 SMA perfectly as well. And on top of that, we're able to see my next entry point, which is not too far away from 122 at 123.50, being realized as well by the actual share price during that bounce at the daily 200 SMA. And so, you know, I also said if the price is able to hold this daily support level of 122.50 without being magnetized towards that daily 200 SMA, then it will be very, very good for the price to continue to move up higher and possibly retake the overall pullback action that we saw from the earnings week, right? So again, to me, it seems like after this retest on Tuesday for DDOG on the daily 200 SMA and this nice pivot on Tuesday from the daily 200 SMA, it seems like last week's pullback from a great earnings report and earnings reaction was just a way for the overall market makers to try to grab this name at a cheaper price. Okay, we've seen this happen multiple times in the past with a lot of names where they just simply want to grab this ticker at a cheaper price, even if right, from our perspective, from the retail perspective, this stock hasn't done anything this entire year. Right, it hasn't made any progress this entire year, which is again leads me to believe. Okay, again, this is just my opinion. It leads me to believe that we can be seeing a further upside move into next year and possibly without any attention to what the overall sector, the tech software sector, could be doing. Right, this might just be moving on its own just because of the fact that it has been lagging for this entire year compared to its peers and leaders in the overall tech software sector. Okay, now from a weekly perspective, if you go back to the weekly time frame, if it'll load, okay, we are sitting at a massive cup and handle. Okay, so I know you guys can't see it here because of all my lines here, but let me just quickly draw it for you guys. I'll even use my marker here to make it a lot more easier. Okay, if I can bring it out, I'm on the wrong one. Where'd it go? There it is. Right, so we have a massive cup and then a nice flat handle. Right, and so far the price has been sitting at this handle and range trading between these two parameters set up by this handle, this flat handle between 133 and 108.50. Okay, and guess what this looks like, right? This overall macro cup and handle chart pattern looks like. It looks like IGV, right? Massive, very, very massive cup, round cup, and then a nice flat handle to accommodate it. right? So this is a textbook cup and handle, and DDOG looks extremely similar to it. And the fact that IGV has already blasted up higher due to the holdings of IGV, like CRM, which again blasted to all-time highs. If you just want to see the top 10 holdings of IGV, you guys can clearly see why IGV has exploded to all-time highs, right? This week and last week as well, right? So for DDOG, this looks like a pretty classic lagger ticker, where we should be seeing that catch-up trade following for DDOG into the end of this year, as long as we're able to break out of this macro cup and handle chart pattern that we saw occurring for IGV as well, and be able to break over this 133 handle resistance level. Okay, so again, the technicals and the fundamentals both are lining up perfectly, and that's exactly what we want to be seeing from a good swing or even position trade position. Okay, so for DDOG again, the reason why I always choose these high quality tickers for the CFO Swinger Watch is not always, but I tend to look at technicals more. But in these instances, when I'm looking at a very, very good company with very good fundamentals and just an overall healthy company from a financial perspective, it's hard not to be very, very bullishly biased on a stock like this, right? Especially when the fundamentals and technicals line up for a perfectly good swing trade position or a position trade position, right? So, for DDOG, as long as we're able to see this breakout from 133, maybe by tomorrow or by next week, who knows, we should be seeing a massive breakout to the upside, and it should continue into the end of this year and into next year as well. And so for targets regarding DDOG, as long as I keep that long-term perspective on DDOG based on its fundamentals alone, I think DDOG has potentials to at least come back to the 170s and maybe even retest the 2021 highs that it saw. All right, so maybe around a range, this massive range between 170 to around 187. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if you see that early next year, as long as we're able to again break over this massive cup and handle chart pattern, this textbook cup and handle chart pattern that was also visible on IGV before it had its own massive breakout to the upside. Hopefully that makes sense, right? And hopefully this is a good breakdown as to the reasons why this was featured in this week's CFO Swinger Watch Report. And again, you guys can read this every single Sunday night along with the private CFO Swinger Watch technical analysis video that you guys can also watch in tandem with this reading of the overall report every single Sunday night once you become a reader. And how do you become a reader? Well, all you need to do is DM me on Instagram at ChartFocus1. You'll be receiving your very first 30 days at 50% off, and I can guarantee you guys will learn way more in that single month and 30 days than you've ever learned on YouTube or anyone else. Now, I'm being a little bit, I'm kind of gloating there with my with my report here. But again, I truly wish you guys can just try it out. Right? If it's not for you, it's not for you. But for your first 30 days for 50% off, I can guarantee you that it won't be a disappointment. Read and learn every single Sunday night. I'm here basically actively teaching you guys every single Sunday night, providing you guys with these amazing breakdowns on the overall market, right, with this market summary, and giving you guys very, very good high quality technical chart setups, and also some amazing momentum mentions, which is a new segment in my CFO Swinger Watch report. Right, this is where I just give you guys some amazing charts based on technical analysis alone. Right, but overall, this is an amazing top to bottom analysis on the overall markets and for every single swing trade or any type of trade idea that I put forth into this CFO Swinger Watch report. So again, if you guys want to read this and try it out for your first 30 days for 50% off, okay, just DM me on Instagram at chartsfocus1. You will not regret it. Okay, you guys will absolutely not regret it. And I'm saying that with all honesty. Alright, and based on all the current readers and what they've said so far, you know, I truly think that you guys will be able to learn a lot just from reading this report every single Sunday night, compared to just watching a video or even just trying to read something online. I really think that you guys will be able to literally just boost your learning, right? Just literally boost your learning in the trading world, in the stock market world. All right. So again, the last promotion here for the night for my CFO Swinger Watch report. But again, I just wanted to give you guys kind of a closer look as to why I've chosen this in my CFO Swinger Watch report, and also just give you a good breakdown and just a sneak peek or just an overall peek of one of the CFO Swinger Watch reports, specifically this week's report. All right. So again, if you guys want to read this in this entirety from start to finish, make sure you guys DM me on Instagram at chartsfocus1 and become a member and a reader so that you guys can read this by tomorrow, right before the week ends, before the trading week ends. All right. Well, that is it for me tonight, guys. It was a very short stream, but I really just wanted to give you guys a breakdown on how good of a ticker this looks, right? This is a very good ticker from a technical perspective and a fundamental perspective, and just an overall being a laggard really makes it enticing to try to position yourself into this name by the end of this year, minimum, right? You do not want to miss out on this when it decides to break out of this massive cup and handle chart pattern, along with the fact that it hasn't done anything this entire year, right? If you go back to January of this year, right, the price has been sideways. So it's been making a handle for an entire fiscal year. That's amazing, right? And that's one of the best things to occur in a technical perspective, because the larger and longer the consolidation, specifically in this handle from this broader cup and handle chart pattern, the better and bigger the breakout is. Okay, so hopefully you guys remember that. All right, it's a good technical lesson that you guys should always remember. The longer the condition begets the larger and the better the breakout. Okay, so again, overall, DataDog is showing all the right signs for a large breakout. And that concludes my stream for tonight. Thank you guys so much for all the likes, the support. We're still growing pretty rapidly in this channel, in this community. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below if you guys are new here. And if you guys really liked what you guys heard, make sure you guys hit that notification bell as well right after you hit that subscribe button, because again, it pops up after you hit that subscribe button. But again, if you guys want to be notified of when I'm doing these lives on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and also when I do